All right, everybody, if you are watching this video, you are looking at the last installment of our blood lab. Our blood lab last installment starts with table C on page 179. This is Ms. Silvestri's forensics class. If you are somebody who uses Ward's blood lab, you can also watch these videos to obtain simulated data for a simulation lab for virtual learning. So we are going to be doing our walking drip pattern. We already did in a previous video the wipes, swipes, and others. We will do the arterial spurts vertical, which is almost like a walking drip because you walk and then you pretend that you've had an artery cut as you walk along. So your vertical means that it's up and down in relation to the ground. Okay, we will do horizontal arterial spurts on page 182. We will do cast off spatter on page 182. And then we have to zip ahead on your book, which is page 187. And we are going to do medium velocity and high velocity. So those are the spatters we're going to do today. So we are going to start with the walking drip. Probably should do that first. Where are we? Okay, so to do the walking drip, which is this one, right, I have, and you can do this at home by using the description that they have saying you take your printer paper and you line them up 12 sheets in a row, so you're walking 12 feet, and you put them end to end, so you have a way, something to drip on as you walk. What I have here is rolls of butcher paper that's been unrolled and essentially laid out on the ground. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure the best way to film this for you guys, so I'm going to put the camera on the ground. I'm going to walk towards the lab, and I will drip, and then I will also do an arterial spurt. So let's see. I think I'm going to try to stay on the paper that's to the left. I just have extra paper down because I don't want to have so much spatter going on. So I'm going to take our dropper bottle. I'm going to hold it like this and just squeeze as I walk, and I'm going to walk on a normal pace and not squeezing too hard. Okay, so I'm going to try to stay again towards the left. So I'm just going to walk normally, and I'm just going to drop as I walk. Okay, now when you walk, you swing your arms. So I'm going to show you the pattern that occurs. We're going to look first at the type of drop. And I was not walking very quickly. I'll try to walk faster next time. So if you look, there is a little bit of a tail to it. Notice how the front doesn't have as many spines as the back. And it is a little bit oblong because there is a forward momentum of the drop as it drops down. You might say, well, what do you mean? Well, as I'm walking forward, there's a velocity to the blood going in that direction. It's traveling with me in that direction, but it's also traveling down. So when it hits, it shows you that. So if I pull back, hopefully you can see the pattern is almost like a sine pattern. It goes back and forth as I walk. So I'll walk the pattern. Back and forth. I'm trying not to stop on the drops. That's why the camera's swaying a little. Okay, so you notice it goes back and forth as I walk. Okay, so I'll try to walk a little faster this next time. And then I'll do the arterial spurts that are vertical. Okay, so let me see if I can do this without stepping on the blood and walking faster. Okay, of course, the drops are farther apart. I walked faster. So as we look at that row of material, that's this one, to the far to the right, if you notice, you have more satellites coming off, and the blood drop is elongated even more, and your material spaced out. That sine wave is spaced out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is what's called excuse me, the arterial spurts. So instead of just dropping it normally, I'm going to bring this over here. So instead of just dropping it normally, we are going to squirt, and I think I'm actually going to use a syringe for this, like a heartbeat as you walk. So when I go to drop, it is squirt, 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 squirt. And I'm going to try to really squirt it, squirt, squirt. So you are making it appear like a heartbeat, and you get more blood in that area. So to do this, I'm going to use a lot of blood. I'm going to bring it into, and I don't know how well I can control this. I usually use the dropper. I'm going to walk the other way towards the camera, but I'm going to do squirt, 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 squirt with a syringe. Okay, so I'm going to put that camera back down on the floor. I'll walk towards the camera so I can get it more towards the right of these. Okay, so as I walk, oh, camera's not really facing where you can see me. It's a little bit off angle, not down. That looks pretty good. And I'll pace it. So I go. Okay, it's an arterial spurt. Notice it's different. It's not nice little drops. Right? You get a clump of blood, some little drops there, but it's not the same as the walking pattern. If you look at that pattern, it's still every few steps, and there's a space between the two heartbeats, but it's not the same as what it was doing for the regular walk. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you can always stop and look at it. I'm gonna try to get down and walk at a height for you so you can see this. Again, these are the arterial spurts. Boy, I'm gonna have a lot of cleaning to do. Got to clean all my equipment. Try not to have the cord drag through the blood. So that's my first cut of the artery. And then as I walked, there's my second step, third step. And then overall, looking back on those walk patterns, you can see the difference between a walk and arterial spurt. So there's a walk and a drip. The drip's the single drops. The arterial spurt is when you have the bum bum. Here's first heartbeat, second heartbeat. This just is a constant drip because I sliced my finger and it's bleeding. Here, somebody cut my artery. Okay, I'm going to pause it while I pick this up. And then we'll come back to the other types of cast-offs and spurts. So hold on, guys. Okay. All right, so we should be back. Again, the vertical arterial spurts that I just cleaned up so you can rewind and look at the video are on page 181. Okay, so when you go to record this, you're doing page 179 and 181 for the ones where I walked. So now we are on to the horizontal. So we are looking at the horizontal spurts, arterial spurts, and the cast off. And I'm going to put my goggles on because the spray's everywhere when I do this. So I'm going to simulate someone getting cut like around the neck area and the blood spurting horizontally towards a wall. Excuse me. So to do this, I'm going to move the camera too, so give me a minute while I adjust everything, guys. I can't move the mic. All right, so I'm going to be arterially spurting in this area. So we're going to look at that, and then I'll be doing a cast off. In fact, I might do the cast off first. So do the cast off. And I sent this home. Again, you have to definitely talk to your parents. You have a tongue depressor that came home in your kit. So if you've made synthetic blood at home to do this virtually, you want to discuss it with your parents about whether or not you're going to actually do this cast off. To do the cast off, you take your blood and you pile it on the end of your tongue depressor and you flick it towards the wall, like you're throwing a frisbee, or think about somebody's getting their neck cut and you're casting off what's cut. Okay, so that's the cast off on the bottom of that page. So when we look at the pattern, notice when we cast it off, you have a rise and then a fall, and they're tiny little drops. A rise and then a fall. So it rises up, little tiny, tiny drops, and it casts off and sputters down. I'm going to do it with a different implement that'll hold on to the blood a little more. Comes up with the throw of the wrist and down as the wrist casts down. So again, see if you can see this. It's really hard, guys, because I have the goggles on. So I'm trying to look at my screen to see what you're seeing. It's really hard for me to tell what you're seeing. Everything's just foggy. Right, so I'm going to put the blood. This time I'm using a scapula instead of just a spatula. Holding on to the blood a little bit in the scapula. When you have the spatula, it is more like a knife blade, except that when you go to throw it, as soon as you move your hand, it'll drip. So I'm just going to, again, flick it, and you can see how it flicks. And it's a very similar situation. The blood coming up originally goes up, and then levels out, and then comes down. I know it might be difficult to see lighting-wise. Comes up, levels out, and then comes down. Okay, if I look at it, and do the best you can with your drawing, because you're supposed to draw and describe. And if you look at, I don't know if it's hard to see them. You have little directionals here on the shape of the blood cast. The angle that it was hitting the wall and how it draws out as it hits it, because it's got, again, velocity going that way and velocity going this way, so it makes a tail, and it tells you from the direction that it was cast, and then how it goes out. That can tell somebody I am a right-handed person because it goes down in this way. If I was left-handed, and I can try to do it left-handed to show you, it'll go the other way. So that shows direction. Okay, let me do a little arterial spurt for the rest of that. Uh-oh, where did I put my little artery? Doo, doo, doo. Okay, so to do the arterial spurt, again, syringe, going to aim it directly at the wall and pump it like it is a heartbeat. Okay, so we come back over here, it's leaking a little. I'm going to hold it right at the wall and go. Okay, so that is an arterial spurt, vertical, all over the place. See, you guys might be saying, no, I'm going, this sucks. I don't get to do this lab. But the one advantage you have of watching it virtually is you do not have the cleanup. Okay, cleanup is not fun, and I ride your butt on the cleanup to make sure we don't leave all this mess for the sodium. So you get to avoid all of that cleanup. So I'm going to put this closer so you can see what it looks like on the arterial spurt. This is horizontal, where your arm is horizontally out from you. So you can see how it drips down the wall, and then I have paper towel to absorb some of it. But as it comes off of the wall, it also goes all over the floor, out that way. Okay? So that is the arterial spurt. I am going to take a moment to wipe all of this up, and then I will go on to the next one. Okay, so the next one will involve me placing gloves on, and we are going to do the low velocity straight on at a 90-degree angle, which means I will hold my hand flat to the wall and hit it to propel the blood, and then we'll change the angle, and I'll probably hand my hand upward a little, even though it'll go towards my clothes, because it'll change the pattern of the blood. And then we'll do the last one, which is the least messy, which is the high velocity. Okay. Just gonna make sure that you can see. Put blood into my glove. Now the thing is, this isn't the greatest because the glove isn't so tight to my hand. So I'm going to try to hit it and have it go onto the wall. Okay, so that is straight on, hit. So it goes in this arcing pattern. I'm going to try to pick this up and bring it closer. Okay, these are the last two boxes you have to fill in. In a moment, I'll give you the page number. Again, low velocity hit. It's just me hitting it, and the next thing I'm going to try to do is angle it. So if you notice, it goes like this, the sweep across from where I hit it. That's like, you know, if there's a fight and somebody's punching, you might think, unless you're a really great trained fighter, your velocity is not like a bullet wound where you have a high velocity projectile going. Okay, so this is higher up in your page numbers. Give me a moment, guys, because I got my gloves on and it's messy. 187. It's page 187 for these last four. Okay, so now I'm going to angle it. So instead of trying to keep my hand flat, I'm going to take my hand and angle up my fingers. Oh, come on, stay in there. No, it's not staying because I have all these cracks and crevices, and so it's just dripping out. So I'm going to angle up my fingers, and I'm going to angle my hand up a little and see if I can get a projectile up. And it didn't work very well. Try it again. It's really because my gloves are, I'm going to go for a new set on my left hand. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it'll stay there now. That's better. Not great, but better. I have to angle it up. And come in. All right. So I will show you this. So it's not as a nice arc as this one. This one's like an arc like this. This now has spatter off in different directions because of the up angle. You can also see on some of the up angle, this is how the tail is on some of these. So if it's going down, you see the tail here, and you've got some other tail. So I'm going to just step back. You can draw that spatter pattern. You can pause the video and draw it. So here's a little bit farther back, and this is a little bit closer so you can see it. Okay, again, pause if you need to draw. And then the last two are high velocity. And on the high velocity, you're going to actually use a toothbrush and pull back your tines. And pulling your tines like this makes it be a high velocity as it comes off the toothbrush. So it's going to simulate high velocity. Okay, this is like trying to simulate what happens if you have a gunshot. So I'm going to put the blood and soak it into the tines. And then after I soak it into the tines, I'm going to just flick it with drawing my finger across. It isn't the easiest way to get all the blood in there. Sometimes it's better to just try to soak the toothbrush. So 90 degree, and I will show you that, and then I'm going to change the degree. I'm going to up it and have it spatter up. So this is 90, I'll do it again, and this is spattering up. Now I can take my goggles off so I can see. So this is 90. This is a 90. That's my second 90. It's very clustered. There's not a lot of angle to the dots. The ones up here, yes, but those straight on, they're circular. They don't have tails, right? Because they were straight on. When you look at this, where it's at an angle, look at it, you can see at these ones, and I'll get close, they have little tails to them, and there's lots of tiny little dots. That representing simulation of a gunshot wound. So if someone's close to the gun or even shot with a gun, the spatter is tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces or blood droplets, and then they travel, and then the angle tells you the direction of the hit, the angle of these dots. The blood spatter itself, the circular dot that's left, if it's completely circular, it's straight on. If it's at an angle, it tells you where it came from. All right, so that is it for our data for our blood lab. And I know this is like not really great and you're having a hard time seeing it. I really hate this camera. And it's blinking because I have something else into the dock. All right, I'm going to take the other thing out, which is the mic, and I'm going to see if this camera stops flashing like that. I might be doing it because of the light. Where is that light? Let's try this. Glad this is only for you guys and nobody else. Do you see it better? Yeah, sort of. A little bit. Okay, that is the non-90 degree. So you have some light on the subject. This is the 90 degree head on. And it's really hard, guys. I can't even see my monitor to see what you're seeing as I record, just because of the positioning in the classroom. Okay. This is the low velocity, non-90. This is the high velocity, low velocity, 90 degrees, low velocity on this one. Arterial spurts. And then again, if you do a cast off, it comes up and goes over. So that is the extent of it. Oops. Okay, that is the extent of the blood spatter. I hope you could see some of that. I'm going to try to see if I can move my monitor again. If you did see it, you don't have to keep watching. I'm going to treat if I can look at my monitor. Oh, this is ridiculous because everything is so tight to the dock that I can't see anything as I do this stuff for you guys. Again, with a little light on it, and this is as bright a light I can get in my room either, too. I'm going to do this just so I can turn around and see. Does this help you at all? Yeah, I guess she does a little bit. Other than I got to shine from that. Okay, so I'm going to move this so you can see. This is the 90 degree high velocity. This is the non-90 degree. I was up at an angle, holding my toothbrush at an angle. Low velocity, not 90 degrees. Low velocity, 90 degrees. Okay, I think you get the idea of the arterial spurts. And that is it.